Alright, then it's time for another Dr. Mundo game. This one is a ranked one, and of course it's on Mary Kun. Which one? And I have a very specialized build that I took for this game. You'll see why in a sec. My opponents are all kind of AP, and they have a Caitlyn in there. They have a Jungle Blitzcrank for some reason. I thought it was going to be Jungle Nautilus. Hell, I even thought it was going to be Support Nautilus when they picked it first. Still though, the Mundo pick is quite strong in this one. I picked him early for sure, so it's not like I counter-picked him with Dr. Mundo. I just felt like playing Dr. Mundo. And they sort of picked into a team comp that can't really deal with me all too well. So at first I was going to take Magic Pen Red, Health Regeneration Quintessence, and Armor Yellows and Magic Resistance Blues. My masters are going to be something around like 9-21-0. But because I saw their team composition being pretty light on damage, I thought, you know what, I'm going to try a more specialized build. I'm actually going to rush Magic Resistance first. I'm not going to finish Cinderhulk until I build at least some Magic Resistance, and then I'm going to pretty much build nothing but Magic Resistance. Pure aura for the team, Spirit Visage, that kind of stuff. I died early, you saw that, but it's an execution, so the enemy didn't get anything out of it. I got the first blood, so it's still fine. In this one, I actually have Magic Pen Red, Armor Yellow, Cooldown Reduction Blues, I believe 6 of them, and Magic Resistance the rest, and the Spell Vamp Quintessence. My mastery page is also 0, 18, and 12, making sure to get the Rune Mastery to get myself longer cooldown, longer duration on the buffs, which honestly doesn't really work in the small monsters, so it doesn't really make a big difference of having that or not. And the Spell Vamp mastery on the utility page. No, it's not the biggest increase of at all, of course, but the idea is that I want to be just a really fat wall that none of them be able to burst through unless they get crits or they focus me in, and if they focus me, they're kind of doing something wrong. I also took Exhaust because it's one of those old school builds that I still like taking. And having Exhaust on Dr. Mundo against this matchup kind of makes the whole thing even worse for the enemy team. Again, look at them. They don't really have any damage, right? Nautilus and Blitzcrank go in. They're just going to CC my teammates. Vladimir throws his aids on people. Yeah, we'll do quite a bit of damage, but if we survive that or we ignore it, it's not going to really have any follow-up through or whatever. And Maokai, too, is just a CC machine, so they really have no damage. Caitlyn's the only one they've got, but like she's probably one of the weaker AD carries in terms of straight out damage. She's got no steroids and just kind of has the advantage of being safe. Of course, you see there's a lot of stupid exchanges early right now. We're dying, they're dying, back and forth. So the game is kind of even on that regard. The enemy of Vladimir, though, he is actually going to get to snowball, and he's going to be the only one we're going to be afraid of. However, we've got 2 exhausts on my team. 2 exhausts. Actually, no, we got 1 exhaust actually. An exhaust to deal with him. So if I get my exhaust on the Vladimir before he throws down his rotation, they'll pretty much have nothing for the fights. So yeah, I get the blue buff instead of giving it to Andy because she didn't really go to it. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm not gonna tank this forever. I'm just gonna take it and run. Because one of the things about Dr. Mundo is that you farm quickly. You bulldoze the jungle, go around doing things, and just sort of bully the enemy team. Like if they turn around and fought me in an even fight right now, 2v2, I'd just exhaust one of them, use my ultimate, and laugh at their faces. Especially if once I start building tankier, they really wouldn't be able to do anything. However, in this situation here, it's a 3v1, and unfortunately the Cho'Gath ran out of steam, and by steam I mean cooldowns, so he really couldn't stay fighting. I just kind of barricaded the passageway here for a little bit, and I ended up dying. Annie showed up late, so unfortunately we couldn't get any kills. However, even worse, the Annie still wants blood, so she goes in, misses completely with her ultimate. She's going to get killed, and the Cho'Gath gets greedy too, so they're both going to die in a very interesting way. They get a kill Blitzcrank, but it's definitely not worth it. Now Vladimir has 2 kills and 2 assists, and their only gravy train here has become a legitimate threat. Still though, I think just having me in Cho'Gath is going to be the doom of the enemy team. We're going to become so fat, without even trying probably, that the enemy team is not going to be able to do anything to us. Every little bit of health that I gain with all the resistances I'm going to stack up, it's just going to make me that much harder to kill. So even the small values of Spell Vamp I get are going to be gruesome. We kill Vladimir, Annie gets killed. I fight Blitzcrank, and I know Nautilus is coming, so I try to get close to my minions just in case anything happens. And he shows up, but of course, I just walk away. Cho'Gath teleports in. I didn't think he'd do that, and he flashes through and fails everything, so it's just kind of no gain whatsoever right there. However, since he's here, we might as well get Dragon. So easy Dragon for us, free basically, and now we have a slight lead. Once again, the enemy kind of doesn't go for blue; she goes top lane, which I guess is smarter. But seeing as the enemy try to steal it at least twice already, I left to go. Now watch this. I'm low. And but Maokai's low too, and Annie's just gonna destroy him. I throw my exhaust onto Maokai quickly, just so the Annie might have a few more seconds of being alive. I think the exhaust made sure I didn't die. I mean, the Annie was gonna die probably regardless, but she at least, I think she was able to get one more W onto the enemy team, and it was enough to make the fight just end there. So I wouldn't have to chase Blitzcrank or risk myself dying. So I love the exhaust for that reason when I'm Mundo. Because like in most fights, the enemy team barely has enough DPS to finish me off or a teammate. And if I toss an exhaust on them, then they're just going to panic and not be able to do shit to me at all. You see, once again, look. Cho'Gath is so fat, they couldn't kill him even though they chased him from top lane, beating on him for a while. And it took enough time for the Annie just to get there and murder him. Then I don't know why the Vladimir decides to do this, but it just took so much free damage, and the Graves is able just to blast him in the face. Now here's the game point. Well, there's honestly been a lot of game points already, but here's the big one. We just the Caitlyn is trying to split push, and honestly, I don't falter. They really can't win team fights. We're just too goddamn fat. They don't have any damage, so their team composition is so bad from the get-go. Then when they picked Nautilus and Caitlyn, they really should have not considered the Maokai or anything. They should have considered someone with actual damage. So it's like, even though we're low, even though we're at a tower, even though we're at an inhibitor, they really just can't do a damn thing to us. Look, Vladimir shows up and I exhaust him, and unfortunately I probably shouldn't have exhausted him right away because he had enough damage to the Graves once he popped out of his pool. But still, look how much damage we did. We basically killed 1.5 rotations of them. The Annie didn't even die here, and she's the lowest among us all. Again, this is just really bad team composition, and like they could have seen it coming. We were second pick, so we had Dr. Mundo and Graves first, and they should have realized, you know what? They've got Dr. Mundo. Probably Caitlyn and Blitzcrank is kind of pushing it into the realm of stupidity. Then they went with Vladimir and Maokai. That just sealed the deal, especially after we had picked Cho'Gath, another really fat champion. So, yeah, they didn't make a good choice, and they're being punished for it. I mean, look at what I have to build. All I have to do is build magic resistance, and I can ignore most of them. Here they pull me under the tower. They see me to hell. I'm back. But I just pretty much am back to 100% health, near 100% health at least. Well, actually, yeah, I'm at 100% health. Holy shit. So, I'm unstoppable. My teammates are pretty much unkillable too. The only way we'll die is doing something stupid like tower diving or getting cocky. Like here we catch the Maokai, and of course he's not gonna get away. He is gonna manage to kill the Thresh, but still, Thresh is worth way less than the Maokai's life at this point. I believe here the Annie gets caught by the Blitzcrank, and then we dive them. They both get annihilated, and I die because again tower diving on my hubris. So. The enemy team actually has 2 AFKs at this point. According to the enemy team, these 2 were a dual queue, and the guy was purposely jungling Blitzcrank, even though in the beginning of the game they told us that, we failed the trade. No, apparently it was just jungle Blitzcrank, and they were the dual queue saying that we're going to carry and whatever. So it's kind of one of those situations in which you just kind of hate your teammates. Now, remember what I said about Dr. Mundo being a bulldozer? I love this. It's like Vladimir gets clipped by my Q, and he should have just kind of realized, I'm going to just run in there and murder him. Either that, or he may have just sort of given up because his 2 teammates went AFK out of being pure bitches. So he didn't really try that hard to escape. So now it's just kind of us trying to finish the game. We hadn't gotten a notification that those 2 people went AFK, so we're still trying to take it a little bit safe, though we should have suspected this since they hadn't shown up in a while. And unfortunately here, we gotta also get a little cocky with kills. I think it's the Graves that does. We dive them a little too far. Watch, we'll dive them a little too far, and we're actually gonna get crit by the Caitlyn in succession. I get crit right now when I use my ultimate, so right there, even though I was gonna regain health, bam, I just get shot down and killed. So the game is pretty much over. And it's been quite a rough week. Like, yeah, besides my power supply dying, I come back and just have games where I have one AFK. The second game, I have a person who never played jungle but wanted to play jungle because the jungle's overpowered as hell right now, and he decided to do so anyways. And the other one were a player who doesn't play AD carry said he wants to try AD carry. He needs to learn it. And of course, ranked is not the place to learn it, right? So though, hooray for Dr. Mundo and hooray for friends. It was quite a showing of that you should really consider picking the proper team compositions in game. I know it sucks not to be able to pick what you want, but sometimes you simply cannot pick a 5th AP champion or a 5th physical champion without handicapping your team even more. Remember, if you enjoyed the video, give it a like and subscribe if you haven't yet. Make sure to also check out the sponsors that make this channel possible. Links to their websites are in the description below.